Hello, everyone. Multiple sources today are covering Putin's announcement of a unilateral 3-day ceasefire in Ukraine for May 8th, May 9th, and May 10th, after he was accused, credibly, for violating the Easter truce. It is a historically important day. Specifically, May 8th is the anniversary of Germany's capitulation in World War II, and May 9th is when the Soviet Union celebrated Victory Day. Why is this significant that Putin is announcing it? Because prior ceasefires were negotiated between multiple parties involved. The US was involved, Ukraine was involved. This one he just announced. It's his indication, like, I'm going to do this on my own terms. I don't care what you want, but here. And he basically threw everybody a bone. Make no mistake, it is just another one of his many tricks in manipulating the situation to show how peaceful he is while he's looking for new and interesting ways to murder Ukrainian civilians. Case in point, of course, is the Easter truce, which really wasn't. Prior to that, there was the horrific attack in Sumy on Palm Sunday leading up to Easter, and even though technically there was a truce on Easter Sunday and attack level had gone down, but truce means nothing. And there were 59 separate instances of Russian shelling, 5 attacks along the front line, and some additional air raid attacks and air raid alerts in the civilian areas. All of this follows both Vance's and Trump's warning for Russia and Ukraine to achieve the truce or else. Or else what? Everybody already knows that U.S. support isn't worth shit at this point. Any guarantees from the U.S. are very, very flimsy because U.S. has become such an unreliable ally. So I don't think anybody is impressed at this point. Yes, you have issued a very explicit proposal to both Russians and Ukrainians, and they didn't agree. Both sides said the details were being discussed, but notice that second paragraph there. Russia said it's open to negotiations, but that is not true. Russia is open to capitulation by Ukraine because the only peace that it's willing to accept is on its own terms, which of course is not acceptable to Ukraine. And Trump's idea that Russia's promise not to take over the whole country is preposterous, because what kind of a concession is that? What is Russia giving up as the result? Because remember, Russia doesn't just want to freeze the front line where it's at right now. It also wants guarantees that Ukraine will not join NATO. It wants no foreign presence in Ukraine. It wants to reduce NATO presence in Europe, and it wants the right to interpret any and all actions by any and all NATO members as potentially hostile, as an excuse to start additional military actions in Ukraine and other territories. So how is that acceptable to anybody? And yes, Zelensky called it, Ukrainians called it, because they've seen it all before. They're sick and tired of this bullshit. They said, yeah, that's just a publicity stunt. And I agree with Ukraine Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha. Russia can stop at any time. They started this war, so they can end it at any bleeping time. Why do they have to wait 2 weeks? Why? Why can't they just say, okay, let's stop shooting? Why can't Russia decide to withdraw its troops to truly show its commitment to peace? Why not? Because it doesn't really want to. So there's going to be a lot of whining among the Russian media about the ungrateful Ukrainians, incapable of appreciating the great, grand, magnanimous gesture by King Putin. That's what's going to happen. And attacks still continue. On Sunday, when I was talking to my parents, we talked during an air raid. I think sometime about 10 minutes into our conversation, they finally canceled the alert. So that is still going on. There's an encouraging sign from the incoming Chancellor, Friedrich Merz, who is putting Ukraine front and center. It looks like Germany is remembering its own historic lessons. And it can see where the US is going, and it can see where Russia is going, and people in Germany are probably going, holy shit, haven't we done this already? Haven't we demonstrated to the rest of the world why this is a thoroughly bad idea? And while Rubio and Lavrov are playing footsie with one another, while the Trump administration is trying to force feed Ukraine the unacceptable peace conditions, there are journalists on the ground from multiple sources, including The Guardian, talking about what it's like down there. And again, I'd like to point out to everybody that neither Vice President Vance nor President Trump has been to Ukraine yet. Witkoff has gone, Kellogg has gone, which must have been an interesting experience. A few of the Democrat and Republican lawmakers have gone. But the so-called leaders of this administration who keep trying to force peace between Russia and Ukraine haven't been out there and haven't seen what it's like these journalists. Now, this particular one, The Guardian's Luke Harding, is in the part of the front near Ukraine's Oskil River. Ukraine is a country that exists around rivers and, of course, butts up against the Sea of Azov and the Black Sea. So riverside, seaside has always been a very popular rest and recreation area. And this is something that I remember fondly from my childhood, as do my parents. So this is one such area next to the Oskil River that used to be a popular recreation area where people would just come and hang out on weekends, have picnics. And now it is a war zone, like so many others. Yet another thing that we have lost.